What is up, though, Lions fans? It's your boy, Motor City Don P. We are back here once again. You already know what time it is, and if you are not ready for the fire and the brimstone, if you're not ready for accountability, if you're not ready for some of your favorite people's names to be G checked, then you might want to go ahead and leave. You might want to go ahead and turn this stream off because this ain't going to be nothing nice. It's not going to be nothing pretty. It's not going to be any words getting minced because we're not here to do that. We're not here to blow bubbles up your butt. We're not here to put pamper on your butt, to put powder, baby powder on your butt cheeks and change your diaper. We're not here to do none of that. We're here to give it to you real. Here to give it to you raw. We're here to give it to you uncut. So when you see me in front of your TV, you know one thing's for certain and three things are for sure. Number one, the Motor City Cats are indeed back at it. Number two, we came to give you stats and not none of that static. And number three, perhaps the most important number of them all, which is what I just alluded to. Want to make sure you keep your Lions news pragmatic, and you may be asking yourself, how, Don? How, Mr. P, does one keep the Lions news pragmatic? Well, it's very simple. I'm glad you asked, and I'll tell you because I'm not going to keep nothing from you. Smash like button, subscribe, share. Whichever order you've done this in, you've done it, and you've kept your Lions news pragmatic. And since sharing is caring, you got to share this with your peoples, your mothers, your brothers, your fathers, your sisters, your cousins, your uncles, your fathers, your sisters, your brothers, your neighbors, your sisters, friends, you name it. You name it. And once you have done that, you've shared with these people, then you've cared about these people. Let's get right into it, man, because we all already know the Detroit Lions dropped yet another one yesterday. And hey, man, if you guys are really, really pumped about this record, I just want you guys to be really, really pumped, okay? And I just want you to scream it out in the chat. What up to everyone in the chat and everyone who's lurking but not chatting? Just scream it from the mountaintops. The Lions have not lost 2 games in a row in 3 years, and we have the opportunity to set the record. We have the opportunity now going into next week to set the record against the Pittsburgh Steelers. We're tied 15 games lost without a loss right after. Okay, we've lost 15 games and we've come back to win each of those 15 times the next week. Now we can set the record at 16 games in which you've lost a game, but then you didn't lose the next one. Okay, and that'll be our solace, because if you think this team is making the playoffs, well, I got news for you. You're no longer in control of your own destiny. See, there were a lot of people, and I'm going to keep talking about those people. And I'm going to keep talking about those people until they come into the chat and they hold themselves accountable. And they raise their hands and say, yep, I was one of those people that said that dumbass ish. There were a lot of people when the schedule came out and we were talking about the difficulty of the schedule. And we were talking about the paths to the playoffs and things of this nature. And there were people that gave up on the division and said that they didn't care about the division. They didn't care about the Lions winning the division because all we needed to do was go 11-6 and make the playoffs. Well, dum-dum, you may get your wish to go 11-6, but guess what? If you go 11-6 at this current iteration, at this current place in time, you are 8-6. If you go 11-6, meaning you win your last 3 games, you are not guaranteed a playoff spot. Do you understand that? You got to get that through your head. Winning out no longer gets you the playoffs. Winning out before yesterday got you the playoffs guaranteed. If you'd have beat the Rams and then won your next 3 games, you'd have been in the playoffs. It's a guarantee. There's no longer that guarantee. That guarantee is gone. It's over. It's over, guys. It's no longer something that you can control. You can't sit up here and say, I'm going to the playoffs if I win the rest of my games. Okay? I just want everyone to understand that first and foremost. That's the first thing that you need to understand. So anyone who's asking, oh, do I think that you can make the playoffs? Sure. Teams have to collapse. Teams have to lose games. The Bears have to lose to the Packers and to us in order for us to get into the playoffs. Okay? The Packers have to lose, I think, 2 more games, right? Because if we just have more wins than the Packers, then we'll get in. So the Packers are what? 9-5-1 right now. They've got to lose 2 more games. Okay? Because if they lose 2 more games, they will have 7 losses. And if we win all 3 of our games, we will have 6 losses. So we will vault the Packers for the wild card spot. Okay? But guess what happened last time we had to do that? Well, last time we had to do that, I think it was 2021. And we had to rely on somebody else to get us in. And then that somebody else, Baker Mayfield with the Rams, didn't get us in. But then we went and we beat the Packers anyway. We kicked Aaron Rodgers out of the division, and he went to Pittsburgh, and it was great because we weren't where we were supposed to be. Like, we were ahead of schedule. Right, we started out that season 1-6, and we finished at 9-8. And while we had some missteps in those last 10 games, namely the Carolina game, we could build upon something. Everyone was excited. It was excitement in Detroit. We finished 8-2 down the stretch. For some reason, it doesn't feel that way this year, does it? If we miss the playoffs this year because someone didn't lose, and then we go into week number 18 and we beat the Bears, even though we already know we're eliminated, no one's gonna freaking care because the Bears will still be going to the playoffs. Maybe even the Packers will be going to the playoffs. 2 teams in the NFC North would represent the playoffs, and it wouldn't be us. Very real possibility, people. Very, very real possibility. The playoffs is not ours to get into. Do you understand what I'm saying? We do not control our own destiny. It doesn't matter what we do, because all we can do is win and pray. If you want to go to the playoffs, win and pray. My man Easy says this all the time, and some other people probably say hope is not a strategy. Shout out to Easy, because he's the person that I've heard say that, and I'm pretty sure that others say it, because it's the truth. Hope is not a strategy. And I don't care what you think is going to happen, whether you win 11 games, whatever. You have to hope. There is no other way to get into the playoffs today but hope. Doing your job is done. It's gone. You've had the opportunity to do your job, and all season long, you didn't do your job, which is why you're in the situation that you're in right goddamn now. So do your job. Well, all we got to do is nothing. All we got to do is hope. That's it. That's the only way you get into the playoffs. I don't care about the last 3 games, because winning them is the only option. And then hoping that other people falter is the only option. Hoping that the Micah Parsons injury is just too much for the Packers to recover from. That's it. Hoping that the Bears are a fluke. But you know what the Bears did yesterday? They did what the Packers couldn't do. They looked at the Browns and said, "You're inferior. We're going to beat the brakes off your ass." And that's what they did. They beat the brakes off the Browns 31-3. And anybody who had Shedeur being better than Caleb on their bingo card was wrong. at least at this point, to this point. The Packers did not beat the Broncos just as I said that they wouldn't beat the Broncos because I said the Broncos defense is too good. What did Jordan Love throw? 3 interceptions? Jordan Love turned back into the Jordan Love that I know and love. In the biggest game, he turned into a pumpkin. And all that was great. But guess what happened on the Lions front? We squandered our opportunity to go ahead of the Packers. Let me reset this right quick because I can't see y'all's comments. Yeah, the numbers were a bit skewed. Okay. We squandered our opportunity to go ahead of the Packers. Right? There's a lot of quiet people in here. Let's get all you people. Where are the people that called me a casual? Where are the people that said that Brad Holmes could do no wrong and all these things? Because we're going to get into that because we got a lot of blame to go around today. So get your comments in. Get your comments in. I want to read them. I want to look you in your eyes. Come in and look a man in his eyes before you kill him. That's what I want to do. Because today's show the gloves are off. The gloves are off. This team is 3 wins or 3 games away from the end of their season. It could be 3 wins. It could be 3 losses. It could be 1 win and 2 losses. It could be 2 win and 1 loss. At the end of 3 games, your season is likely over because you no longer control your destiny. And if you're mad about it, be mad. Because we need you to be mad, actually. And we need you to be mad at the right people. Stop making excuses for this football team. Just stop it. Let's get into the things that we saw that we lost. Someone came in the chat yesterday, and I think he unsubscribed, and good riddance to bad rubbish. I don't care. Someone came into the chat yesterday after we had been in there 3 hours already. It's the end of the game. Jumping up and down about Calvin Shepard being stupid and Calvin Shepard being the dumbest coach in the NFL and so on and so forth. Now, here's the thing that I don't agree with. I don't agree with name calling. I don't agree with sitting up here talking, oh, this coach is the. No. Johnny Morton is bad at his job. He wasn't a good hire. Johnny Morton got my ire and a little bit because I know I called him a moron because Johnny Morton talked so much about getting J-Mo the ball and doesn't do anything, but like no one got the ball under Johnny Morton except Amon-Ra St. Brown. And Johnny Morton couldn't figure out that you don't just have to throw the ball 85 yards down the field to J-Mo. Dan Campbell showed you that countless times once he took over. So I didn't agree with the name calling. So when you come in here all hot talking about, oh, this is the dumbest coach in the NFL, whatever. Grow up. Okay? I understand fan is short for fanatic, but grow up. But we can be more objective. I kept talking about doubling Puka Nacua. I kept wondering out loud why you wouldn't double Puka Nacua. As Puka Nacua was going off for 181 yards and a touchdown, I kept asking why you wouldn't double him. I said, there must be a time that you must double this man. also said you don't have the personnel because you do not have the personnel. Amik Robertson is not your number one corner. He's given up 700 yards already in coverage. Fun fact, shout out to Heavies. I learned this today. DJ Reed has given up 14 less yards than Carlton Davis in coverage. And we all thought that DJ Reed was a drop-off. Oh, he was a lateral move. Or he was a downgrade. Well, he's doing better than Carlton Davis. Turncoat ass. I'm sorry. Let me get back to reality. 14 less yards in 8 games. Carlton Davis has played 14 games. Okay. Carlton Davis has played 14 games. Out of a possible 14, DJ Reed has played 8. And he's given up 14 fewer yards in 6 less games. DJ Reed is getting cooked left and right. Everywhere you go, everywhere you look, DJ Reed is getting his ass cooked. DJ Reed was a downgrade. And whose fault is this? Well, now you got to look at Brad Holmes because this is the second damn time that Brad Holmes has done this. The first time he did it was with Cam Sutton. He brought Cam Sutton over here and paid him number 1 cornerback money to be the number 1 cornerback on the team when he had never been a number 1 cornerback in the NFL. You did the same damn thing with DJ Reed in order to save $4 million a year. You get what you pay for, Brad Holmes, with this cheap-ass bullcrap. You get what you pay for. You didn't learn the first time. How are you a cornerback snob? How are you a DB snob, which is what he calls himself? Your secondary, Brad Holmes, has been trash since you got here. It's been garbage. And when you had a really good player like Carlton Davis, you let him go. Your ass let him walk to save a little bit of money. Look at our offensive line. You did the same thing with Kevin Zeitler, bro. What are we doing? And then nobody, so many people don't want to freaking criticize Brad Holmes because, look where we came from. I don't give a damn. Which Super Bowl have we won? Which Super Bowl have we appeared in? Which one? There's been 60 of them. How many have the Lions been in? Because we're not even in contention for the playoffs right now. Let that sink in. After 14 games, we're not in contention for the playoffs. Open your damn eyes. We are not in contention for the mother effing playoffs. We could win all of the last 3 games and miss the playoffs. The likelihood of us missing the playoffs is better than the likelihood of us making the playoffs. We have a 36% chance to make the playoffs. And we have to win back-to-back games. And we haven't won back-to-back games in 2 months. Brad Holmes deserves blame. Trash-ass secondary. Terrion Arnold is hurt. Can't do anything about that. Kirby Joseph is hurt. Can't do anything about that. Brian Branch is hurt. Can't do anything about that. Where's Ennis Rakestraw? Who is that? What is he in the NFL? Not a player. Never played in the NFL. Not really. A few snaps here and there in a reserve role his rookie season, and that ended in injury. And then the next season didn't even start. Ended in injury during the preseason. Cam Sutton, DJ Reed, Jerry Jacobs, Jeffrey Namumbo Oh Hell No Kuda. And now I know he didn't draft that man. And I know he didn't sign Jerry Jacobs. What's that Glass dude's name? What was his name? Emmanuel Mosley. Khalil Dorsey. Where are our corners? Other than Terrion Arnold, who I'm pretty high on because I can see the technique and the skills that he has. The draft class of 2024 was what? Terrion Arnold and who? Brad Holmes absolutely knocked out the second. He knocked the second draft out of the park. And I'm going to tell you what. There was so much euphoria for what he did in the first 2 rounds. I actually didn't even pay attention to Broderick Martin, to Hendon Hooker. You know why? Because I'm like, damn, he did such a great job that you could take a flyer. I'm going to admit to you, I wasn't initially upset about the Broderick Martin pick. I wasn't initially upset. I looked at him and I was like, you know, he could be something. But then it became a trend. Wasting 3rd round picks every year. Brad Holmes has wasted 6 3rd round picks. And we talk about injuries. He was wasted 6 3rd round picks. He has not hit on anybody in the D line except definitively Hutch. And there's even still more that you want out of Hutch because of the contract that he got. Let me ask you guys a question. When this offseason starts, and then you're talking about, oh, well, we got to sign this guy. We got to extend this guy. We got to do this. We got to do that. We got to do the third thing. This cliquish mentality that we have on this team, like our guys. I understand. Dan Campbell is a very passionate head coach. And I understand that he loves these guys. He looks at them as family. But here's what I have to say this. There are certain philosophies that we have at Allen Park right now that need to change. Brad Holmes throwing away 3rd round picks to draft projects and to draft players that are absolutely not of any need at all needs to change. We need to stop that bullcrap. Everybody else has a 53-man roster, but we have a 69-man roster, needs to change. I don't give you're on the practice squad, bro. I'm not going to rely on you. You didn't make the roster. You're on the practice squad. All this vet squad bullcrap, Yeah, it's cute for one game. The Legion of Whom was cute for one game. And then we go around, and I don't generally do this, but you have to go look at the competition. They were cute for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are taking turns fumbling the NFC South lead with the Panthers. Who both got beat this week by the bottom feeders in their division. That's who the Legion of Whom stepped up and introduced themselves to the world against. Everybody, so many people were giving Isaac TeSlaa these damn Tron nicknames, and he hadn't done anything and still has done nothing. But what we want to do as Detroit Lions fans, because he's tall, he's 6'4", he's got some weight to him, we want to effing compare him to goddamn Calvin Johnson, he's done nothing. At this point in time, we do not have a third-round pick this year or next year, and he wasn't necessary to be picked. He may become phenomenal, but he's not helping us win a Super Bowl. Not this year. I don't want to hear about next year or 3 years from now when we don't have a freaking offensive line. I don't want to hear about 3 years from now when we don't have a freaking secondary. Because we keep signing and drafting injury-prone players. Who and where is Marcus Davenport? Has anybody seen this dude? What milk carton have you seen him on? Because he's got a freaking tackle in 3 games. Shout out to him for not getting injured and playing 3 games, but you've done nothing. But we good because everyone was waiting for this guy to come back. Where? I don't see him. Does anybody see him? Where's Ahmed Hassanin? Where is he? Can you tell me where he is? Because he's the 6th round rookie that is freaking in the Hall of Fame already. Where is he? What stats does he have? Where? And then Brad Holmes has a nerve to get up in front of the podium and say, I don't know, 6 pounds, I don't know. What the frick are you talking about? Was that enough? Hell no, it wasn't enough. I'm a Philly fan right now. I'm a Philly fan right now because I am going to freaking demand from this damn team. Dan Campbell, what the hell are you doing with the Jahmyr Gibbs up the middle? Somebody please go and look at Bijan Robinson. Please. Because they were drafted in the same draft. And they're going to be compared to each other for their entire careers. Somebody please go and look at how the Atlanta Falcons use that man. Because if you think that all they do is run him up the middle, you're sorely mistaken. And he's actually bigger than Jahmyr Gibbs. So if they wanted to spam him up the middle 20 times a game, they would. You know why Jahmyr Gibbs is averaging 5.7 yards a carry? Because he's special. Not because you're running him up the freaking middle. You've got Monty for that. If you want to spam a running back up the middle, use Monty. Use both of these guys on the field at the same time. Everybody was upset because Osama bin Johnson wouldn't do that. And we're still not doing it. Everyone wants to talk about how this is a Dan Campbell offense. So maybe it's a Dan Campbell philosophy where we can't have two running backs on the field at the same time, where we can't maximize our weapons. My guy, we are down Sam Laporta. We are down Brock Wright. Jared Goff doesn't trust Shane Zylstra. He doesn't trust any other tight ends. Monty Gibbs on field same time. Gibbs was in the slot like a demon against the freaking Cowboys. But against the Rams, who took him away from you, and you let them take him away because all you did was spam him up the middle. Put Monty back there, put Gibbs in the slot, and freaking make plays. You played a phenomenal first half. And then in the second half, and I told y'all, if you were here watching the game with me, Tactical Sport can attest to this. I told you when we ran up the middle on 2nd and 15 with Jahmyr Gibbs after the holding penalty, I told you we lost the momentum of the game. That's where we lost our advantage. I told you that, and we never led again. We never led again. And then I got people coming here talking to me about Goff. And I got people coming here talking to me about freaking Kelvin Shepherd. Man, get a life, bro. This was a shootout. You don't call plays like that in a shootout. You don't waste possessions in a shootout. It's called a shootout because neither one of the defenses are going to do anything. But guess what you did? You gave their defense the kick in the pants that they needed by calling that stupid-ass play. And then they went on to get 3 straight stops. Dan Campbell comes to the podium every week and says, "Oh, we need to clean up this. We need to clean up that. We need to clean up the third thing." Bro, that was game number 14. That was game number 14, week 15. If we still got to clean up this, that, and the third thing, we ain't never going to clean nothing up. At this point in the season, what are we talking about cleaning things up? What are we talking about Dan Campbell with? Oh, there's some plays that I want back. Stop doing that. Like, look, brother, how many games do we have to play in which Jahmyr Gibbs has 20 carries and 5 yards? Like, I'm exaggerating, but how many games do we have to play like that? Where you realize, until you realize, hey, something needs to change. Something about our scheme, our run scheme, stinks. If it was Osama bin Johnson, and if that's what it was, then y'all need to pull up tapes from last year and figure out how he affected the run scheme. Because we still had those little stupid plays where we would run Jahmyr Gibbs straight into the middle of the line, which is maddening to me. I go back to Scott Linehan and say, hey, stop taking Javid Best, your Ferrari, through the forest, which is the middle of the line of scrimmage. Javid Best popped a big run, 88-yard touchdown through the middle of the field from the 12-yard line to the goal line, to the house against the Chicago Bears on Monday Night Football. And I call that the Javid Best moment. You know why I call it the Javid Best moment? Because it happened one time. It wasn't the norm. Jahmyr Gibbs a few weeks ago had his Javid Best moment where he ran it 70 yards up the middle to the house on Monday Night Football. Jahmyr Gibbs is too good to be using him as a battering ram. He's not a battering ram. He's not. I'm gonna get to your comments before I move on to the rest of this bullcrap. Appreciate you, Mr. Detroit City. DJ Reed is a child, and I would say that to his face, little boy. That's on Melvin Facts. What up, dope? Tactical Sport. This is the crash out episode. It is. It is the crash out episode. What up, though, Belinda Brown? I still think we win out. Bears lose 2 times, and we win the tiebreaker over them. Round 1, we go into Lambeau and beat Green Bay, then go into LA and get revenge against the Rams. Also, like I said, Super Bowl. I don't believe it. I don't believe you. Like the anchorman said, I don't believe you. Yeah, no, I have no belief. No, none. Then next day, fire Melvin. Okay. If we get to the Super Bowl, I mean, they're gonna put a statue out there. I was upset about Broderick Martin. I was more so indifferent, like I said. The fact of the matter is this. Yes, we have a lot of players we have to re-sign, but re-signing them doesn't make this team better. I'm out on Melvin. Facts. We have this clique. Like, oh, our guys. It's like this exclusive club. Bro, we don't have a bench. We don't have a bench. Because our bench was supposed to be those 6 third rounders. We've got a starting 5. Super duper top heavy. Where's our bench? Amik Robertson is not a starting cornerback in the NFL. I'm sorry. He's not supposed to be relied on for this long. So right now, DJ Reed is not a starting cornerback in the NFL. We have 2 guys out there who are not starters. At least not number 1s. Okay? Because you can say DJ Reed is a starter, but he's a starting number 2, and that's fine. But he's a number 2, and Amik Robertson is a number 3, and they've been forced into the role of number 1 and number 2. It ain't working. That's why we've lost 6 games. It ain't working. All teams have injuries, bro. Why do we have so many? And why are they in such key positions? Every year, maybe we need to start looking at the practice regimen, the training regimen, something. Because this is getting ridiculous. And then when your GM is out freaking playing Madden GM, look, I love Madden. I used to love Madden. I used to play Madden all the time. And I was always, I love the franchise because I love to build my own thing, right? And guess what you could do because I would take a sorry ass team, okay? Because here's how I would play Madden. You got to have your obligatory Lions season. So I break out the box and I take the Lions. Now, back in the day, around the 0-16 times, the sorry ass team was the Lions, right? So you take the Lions and they suck and you simulate the season because you're going to get top pick, right? In the first 3 picks. So then what you do is you start trading everybody, right? And then you start, picking people and getting draft picks and you sign free agents and you turn off the trade veto, all that stuff. And then you've got a super team in one season. We don't have that. We have the New England Patriots, who, like I said yesterday, and I'm sure the guy is not here today, who was just talking to me about golf, and I'm like, bruh, we lost the game. That wasn't on golf. We couldn't stop anybody. And we didn't go into the. I told y'all it was going to be a shootout. I told y'all that. I think that's why, like, a lot of y'all rock with me, because I'm not sitting up here just like, I know what the frick I'm talking about. I'm not just sitting up here giving you a fan perspective where I don't know what the hell I'm talking about and I'm just acting off of emotion. Or sitting up here lying about like who I am and what my credentials are and how many businesses I have and, you know, how many cancer societies I have. I'm not doing none of that. So y'all rock with me because I'm a genuine freaking ball seer. As I told you, I'm not the ball knower. I'm the ball seer. I see ball. Some people know it. I see it. It's different. But we have the New England Patriots who went out and they said, all right, Drake May, yep, he's the guy. Build a team around him by buying it. Here's what we're not going to do. We're not going to buy a team because, number one, we have too much money tied up in our guys. Number two, we have the our guys requirement. Number three, Brad Holmes doesn't want to do anything but build through the draft so that we can get our guys. How has that worked for us so far? We got to the NFC Championship game where we choked. We had it, but we let them off the hook. We had the opportunity to go and win a Super Bowl, but we let it go with 30 minutes remaining. Actually, with 20 minutes remaining. We were 20 minutes away from the Super Bowl, and that's as close as we've gotten. So I understand all the fans that want to sit here and talk about how dare you, how dare you, how dare you. Brad Holmes is your Lord and Savior. He's not mine. But here's the thing. I understand that he's gotten you to places you've never been before. What the hell does that matter? If that's the question. And I know y'all, everybody in my chat is not like that, right? The people that the day ones, the people that come in every day, the people that hang around all the time, y'all aren't like that. But y'all have friends like that, y'all have family like that. And I want y'all to ask that question to those people. To the fans that you have in your lives, whether it's your wives or husbands, whether it's your brothers or sisters, uncles or aunties, mothers and fathers, grandparents, who have Brad Holmes' penis so far down their throat that you can't even see his nutsack. Okay? Ask them how 20 minutes away from the Super Bowl tastes. Because that's as far as we've been. We've been close enough to say that we've almost got there. We've been close enough to say that we almost got there. Almost doesn't count unless it's hand shoes and horse hand shoes. Almost doesn't count unless it's horseshoes and hand grenades. You get points for as close as you are to the little stick when you're throwing horseshoes. You can blow somebody up with a hand grenade without hitting them directly. So almost doesn't count unless it's hand grenades and horseshoes. Just ask them. How does that taste? When they're sitting up there giving that man fellatio, ask him how does it taste 20 minutes away from the Super Bowl? How does that taste? Because until further notice, until we actually get there, oh, Brad Holmes gave you the ability to dream about actually getting to the Super Bowl. Whereas Bob Quinn, you couldn't have dreamt it. Martin Mayhew gave you the ability to dream. What's the difference between him and Brad Holmes? Letting Ndamukong Suh go and not drafting Aaron Donald? Brad Holmes wasting 6 third-round draft picks. It ain't up there yet because Aaron Donald turned out to be who Aaron Donald was. But he came from F them picks, and he's effing them picks in a different way from the back. Right? He's effing them over. Les Snead is actually getting things in return from effing those picks. I don't give a damn about this pick. Go get me Odell Beckham Jr. I don't give a damn about this pick. Go get me Matthew Stafford. I don't give a damn about this pick. Go get me Von Miller. I don't give a damn about this pick. Go get me Jalen Ramsey. Brad Holmes going, I don't give a damn about this third rounder. Go get me Broderick Martin. Go get me Hendon Hooker. Go get me Isaac Tesla. Go get me Manu. How's that working out for us? I just wonder. But it doesn't make this team better. He should be sent back to renting cars. Frustrating for everyone. Facts. So where do I start? I started. So I love Monty. They need to play him more. Facts. 23 NFC Championship game all over again. It had that vibe. A bloody shootout. Facts. Cleaning up in week 15 must be diarrhea. Not to mention the middle of our offensive line is the worst part of our O-line. Facts. Play calling, lack of edge, injuries. Please pick one. All. I'll pick all of them. Be honest, bro. So we make the playoffs right now if we A, have Myles Garrett, or B, all of our hurt defensive players and offensive players are back. To be honest with you, I'm looking at yesterday's game specifically to answer this question. I'm going to have to go with Myles Garrett. And the reason I'm going to go with Myles Garrett is this. If you had Myles Garrett week 1, do you lose to the Packers? Probably not. Okay, because you go blow for blow with Micah Parsons and his addition and what it did for that defense. What's your next loss? Okay, we can do a thought exercise with this all we want to. There's some Johnny Morton losses in there that if you had Myles Garrett, you don't lose those games because Myles Garrett and Aiden Hutchinson makes it almost impossible for you to score 7 points. Not that Myles Garrett was ever a reality, but a pass rush has been a reality for a while. Again, go back to my episode that I did about the Denver Broncos, and I talked to you about Nick Bonito. I talked to you about Zach Allen, and I talked to you about Jonathan Cooper. The topmost of which was drafted in the 2nd round, the bottommost of which was drafted in the 7th. There wasn't a 1st round draft pick picked on spit on a pass rusher on the defense that leads the league in sacks. So it makes it even more glaring that we tricked off 6 third-round draft picks for nothing. 2 of those players are no longer on the team. Manu doesn't have a spot on the team because he's trash. And Isaac Tesla is a freaking gunner on special teams. He had a target yesterday. Whoop-de-doo. No catch. So if you're asking me this question and I'm looking at it objectively, I've got to go with Myles Garrett. I'm sorry. You can't predict injuries. You can't. We can't keep using injuries as an excuse, especially when we don't get players. I'm tired of hearing, I attempted to get Myles Garrett. I attempted to get Danielle Hunter. I attempted. We could have gotten Jared. We liked Jared Verse in the draft, says Dan Campbell. Well, why the hell didn't we go up and get him? We went up to get Terrion Arnold. Why didn't we go up to get Jared Verse? None of y'all were here with me when I did that draft because some jackass locked me out of my platform and I had to rebuild, right? But there were a few people with me during that draft. And I left. I had to go anyway, but I left early. I went and started getting ready, and then I came back, and the Terrion Arnold pick was being made, and I said, welcome to Detroit, I guess. I don't freaking care. Because the Rams went up and got Jared Verse. And guess what's about to happen, guys? Guess what's about to be really, really unfair? The Rams could win the Super Bowl again. And then Atlanta gave the Rams their first round pick so they could go back up into the first round and get what's his name? James Pierce. So not only will the Rams possibly win the Super Bowl for the second time during the trade era, right? Then they're going to have a top 10 pick right after that. But we're not at the point where we go F them picks. Yeah, we've been effing them picks in the third round all along. Make that make sense. Les Snead says F them picks, wins a Super Bowl, doesn't go to the playoffs the next year, comes back playoff contention. Year number 5, Super Bowl contender again. And some people have them as their Super Bowl favorite. Wow. I don't even know if the freaking Rams are in the Super Bowl. I don't even know if I'm streaming that joint. I'm sorry. I don't know if I can watch Matthew Stafford win another goddamn Super Bowl after winning absolutely nothing in Detroit. Medical staff changes should be incoming. Something's got to change. Melvin has not gotten us to the big one. Not at all. Not at all. Melvin would say it's great because only 4 teams every year get there. Yep. And only one team wins it. And the Detroit Lions have never been that team. And we're sick and tired. I'm sick and tired of people telling me that I should be happy to be there. I should just be happy to be in this position where we need other teams' help once again. What's the difference? What's the difference? Shut up, Ron. Almost counts in missiles and artillery too. You're right. Now with me dealing with a hand injury, yeah. I mean, it's his legs and eyes that's the problem. Number one, get Daboll this offseason. Dan can't call plays. 2, early draft capital edge. 3, Dan layoff in practice, less injuries. I'm gonna. So you know what? It's the same situation. I think Dan has more ability to learn. Dan's play calling isn't bad. He makes critical errors at the wrong times in his play calling. So I'm not just going to say it's overall bad. The offensive play calling has been worlds better since Dan Campbell took over. Johnny Morton's terrible. But Dan Campbell, I don't know if it's the gambling. I don't know what it is. So can you be successful with Dan Campbell calling offensive plays? Yes, you can be. Would I rather have an offensive coordinator? Yes. Now let me ask you that question: Can the Lions be successful with Johnny Morton calling plays? Hell to the no, no, hell no. You see the difference? You see the difference? Dan Campbell just got to learn that you can't run the ball up the middle all the time. You gotta do something better with your offense. You have to have a better scheme. I used to be an offensive coordinator. Like I was that mad scientist that people love to call themselves, where I just had all types of formations, all types of plays, all types of misdirection, motion, like everything. I love designing offense. It's fun. It's like that's why I'm also a graphic designer, right? I'm also a web designer. I develop apps. All that stuff is fun to me. Creating things is fun. And especially when you can add motion, when you actually can get people to do the things that you make up, you can see them line up in the formations that you made up. I was coaching high school football pretty much in Qatar. I had a freaking formation with 2 quarterbacks. Come on, bro. Like, so when you're sitting up here telling me, well, I can't get Jahmyr Gibbs off, pause, pause. Okay? Because all I can do is run him up the middle. I call cap, bro. I call cap. See, I'm not gonna do no dumb stuff like that, Ron. You should be ashamed of yourself. Would you trade Kirby, Branch, Terrion, and Laporta for Myles Garrett this season? No. That's too many players for one guy. Then you're in a similar situation that he's in. You've depleted your team so that you can have Aiden Hutchinson and Myles Garrett. That doesn't make sense. Then you're the Browns again. No, so you're talking about trading him. That's the thing. You're talking about trading him. I was talking about when I was answering your question, I was giving you Myles Garrett plus everybody else before they got injured. That was my point. I wasn't depleting the team to get Myles Garrett. That's crazy. That didn't rock. Okay, when I say Dan can't call plays, I mean he's not one of those coaches that can balance all of it. I get what you're saying. But I just wanted to address the people that say, "Oh, his play calling sucks" and blah blah blah. It doesn't suck. There's the critical errors. You make the errors at the wrong time, and it makes everything look bad. Right, I got you. Also, Pierce is correct. Daboll and head coaches in general who don't do well and get fired make great coordinators or other coaching positions that are below head coach. Again, I am in favor of an offensive coordinator. Don't get me wrong. Right? I'm telling you that if the Lions decided to go keeping Dan Campbell calling plays. Number one, I wouldn't be like, oh, the season's over because the offense is going to absolutely suck because we have evidence to the contrary. And number two, I would think that if that's what he was going to do, and if he went into the offseason going, I'm going to call plays from here on out, then he would get better. That's what I would think. But I am in favor of an offensive coordinator. This is what. Let me just be clear on that. Do you think it's going to come down to week 18 for us to make it? Absolutely. Absolutely. But we got to get past week 16 and 17 first. So, it's the errors that tells me Dan can't do it all. And I agree with you. I agree with you. Those errors are crucial at the wrong time. I would fire Melvin before Dan. Dan can only coach the players given. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not. I'm not souring on Dan Campbell. He's a good head coach. He's a great head coach. But he also might have something to do with the injuries. If we're keeping it a buck. Dad's play calling don't suck. He's making average ass calls that would work with an elite offensive line, but average don't get the job done when your offensive line is less than average. And I don't think anyone has adjusted to that. And that's the problem. Johnny Moe came in here trying to have 18-step drops when you can't protect on a 3-step drop, not knowing how to call protections and design protections in his offensive scheme. And Dan Campbell is trying to do things that we could do last year. Last year, we did those stupid-ass plays where we just ran Jahmyr Gibbs into the middle of the freaking offensive line. And they didn't work well. Look, the NFL is not a sideline-to-sideline game as far as you being able to beat teams to the sideline and get the edge. This isn't college. You can't just keep everybody on the boundaries. However, we have things called counters. We have things called toss cracks, where you have crackback blocks. We have different types of blocks, combo blocks. We've got jumbo formations where we can use it to get to the outside, where we can run off tackle. It doesn't have to be in the middle. And the middle of your offensive line, as Tactical said earlier, is the weakest part of your offensive line. We need to be able to get out on the edge, and we need to be able to scheme up blocks that free up the edge. Because a simple toss is not going to get it done for you. Why do you think there's such a proliferation of jet sweeps in the NFL? The reason is that the 2 or 3 steps that the quarterback takes this way could get the defense flowing this way. And then the guy that's coming around to take the jet sweep and a few guys on the edge have the responsibility to, one, those guys get that edge sealed off, this guy getting the edge, hitting it at the right angle and speed, and taking it to the house. A jet sweep is not a toss. See, a toss is different. Okay? We also have counter tosses where you can take a counter step to try to freeze the defense just a little bit. With Jahmyr Gibbs, try that. because Jahmyr Gibbs only needs a step. Try that. Counter step this way. Oh, over aggressive defense. Start stepping that way. Toss back. Seal the edge. When you do that, pull Penei Sewell. Guess what? You can't pull him because he's got an ankle, an injured ankle. So there has to be more that you're doing with this. You just have to. Anyway, I'll get to the rest of your comments. And before I do that, mailbag. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they're reading you? Mailbag. Snick, mailbag. Get your mailbag questions. Get them in. Bask in it. All right, go ahead. Get your mailbag questions. I'll do a few, and then I got to make a phone call. At this point, start Frazier. Why not? I don't know. Because Cologne is getting his ass beat. A part of the reason why Dan's guys are so damn good is because he makes everyone practice fully padded, hard as hell, full go, full contact all the time. This increases injury risks. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. You got to change that up. One word, bro. Sack Holmes. That's 2 words. All due respect, we're not running toss players with our lineup right now. Hell no. No, I'm not telling you to run tosses. Tosses they don't work in the NFL. Not a regular ass toss. Didn't I explain that? Maybe I explained it after you said that. Asking for a fumble. I never asked him to run tosses. I don't know where you got that from. MCDC is calling plays like he has last year's offensive line. Facts. 11-6, I predicted beginning of the season. This team took a huge step backwards, getting rid of Johnson and Za'Darius, Tim, Carlton, etc., not bringing in top defenders. We're good. F out of here. Brad, sack him. Right. So D-Dubs is one of those people that said 11-6, but he didn't say, I don't care about the North. Just get 11-6 and make the playoffs. Right? Okay. What up, though, Zach J? So, dude. Mailbag. I believe Frank is coming back next season. Does Melvin actually address succession next offseason? Number one, you better get it written in stone that he's coming back. Okay. And then yes, you have to address the succession, because even if he does come back, you don't know if it's for a year or 2 or 3. You don't know. So you got to do that. Taylor Decker, there's a lot of stuff. I think Taylor Decker's gone. If Frank comes back, he may try to come back another year so he can play with his best friend, and then they have the power of friendship again. But it's got to be addressed. You got to do it. And if Brad Holmes, I'm telling you, if y'all want to watch the draft with me, I'm telling you, I am going to start a chant. If Brad Holmes trades into the 3rd round to draft a project player, I'm going to start a chant. Fire Brad Holmes. Fire Brad Holmes. And we're going to do that in the chat, and we're going to do that up here on the stage, because damn all that. Because if you're going to do if you're going to do that again, after you've seen what happened with Tesla, who was no ROI at all, you're not going to learn ever. And you should be fired. Mailbag, we have a scrambling QB right now. We're in the playoffs. That's all I'm saying. I love Goff, but I don't know what these low throws hitting the ground are. I don't know what your question is. That's not a question. I do not like the dirt throws. But I will counter this with you. You said we have a scrambling quarterback right now. We're in the playoffs. And I will counter with this. If we have an offensive line, we're in the playoffs. Now, what's going to be easier to fix? The quarterback position, because he doesn't play very well when you don't protect him. You protected him in the first half, and he had a 166 quarterback rating. He was balling out of control. You didn't protect him in the second half, and he turned into a pumpkin. It's probably easier for you to fix the offensive line. Look at what the Bears did in one offseason. using third-round picks to trade for offensive linemen. Wow, imagine that. Mailbag, how's the government handling the Bondi ordeal out there? Glad you're safe, brother. I don't know. I'm nowhere near it. I don't even know where Bondi Beach is. So yeah. I just saw something about it before the show. I looked at my phone and said something. It's talking about gun reform. We don't even have like guns are illegal here. You can't walk around with a gun. The only way that you're gonna get a gun legally here is by having like a hunting permit. Right? There are no gun stores. No, it's not like in the hood, gun store, liquor store, gun store, liquor store, gun store, liquor store. Whatever, you taking me. It's not like that. You know what I mean? So people are running around here with machetes, and then they just ban machetes. It's yeah. It's not. So I don't know what's going on. Mailbag, when the Bears lose 2 times, we win the tiebreaker to get in, then beat the Packers in Lambeau Field, followed by beating the Rams in LA. Will you believe again? That would have to happen. Yes. The entire thing would have to unfold. And then, of course, I would believe because that all happened. I don't believe it will happen. Okay, I feel you. I'm good with firing Melvin now. Go get someone out of the Eagles front office, or maybe someone who's like who actually pays attention to what Les Snead does. I wouldn't mind that. You know what I mean? Hell, I think offensive line, 1 draft pick, short term, 1 long term, Decker surgery. It's fine, right? It's easier to fix the offensive line than to fix the quarterback. You fix the quarterback by fixing the offensive line. Because we didn't have when we were going 15-2, we didn't have all of this. We had the 1 golf game. That was it. And we won that one. And then we had the golf game in the playoffs, and of course we lost that one. So I agree. I'm just hot right now. You don't know what it's like to grow up watching the Lions suck ass. Yes, I do. What are we talking about? We established I'm 43 years old. I was born and raised in Detroit. What are we talking about? All right. I'm out of Detroit now. I'm out of the entire United States. They come close to making it big just to get their dicks yanked off last second. I know all about it. I know all about it. That's what they do in the UK. It's bad there. Yeah, I think it's more so knife crime in the UK. Here it's machetes. Um, but yeah. And I know a machete is a big knife, but I mean like smaller knives, more like concealed. 100%, bro. I said with that record, we might sneak into the playoffs, and 11-6 is a decent record considering how bad this team is. It's all on Holmes. Fans need to push him out, Nico Harrison style. And this is why I said I'm on my Philly fan stuff right now. I'm gonna be on my Philly fan ish for the entire offseason. Like you need to shape up or ship out, bro. I'm sorry. Spielman for GM, wouldn't hate it. But he might get a bunch of grit guys too, so who knows? And the goof game, we won. Yeah, we won the one in the regular season, but not in the playoffs. Goff had a concussion against Commanders in the playoffs, not convincing me otherwise. He did have a concussion, but as I say, 14-3, game's over. That strip sack, courtesy of Graham Glasgow, put the game in the balance, and ultimately, case in point, 14-3, Jared Goff doesn't throw that pick six that he gets concussed on. Doesn't I mean the throw was an absolute dumbass throw. And like he had Laporta wide open underneath, and he tried to throw it over his head to Amon-Ra St. Brown, got it picked off, and then got concussed. You don't need to try to make that play, whatever play he was trying to make, at 14-3. I'm sorry, but I feel like we're going to do just enough to fall further in the draft, but just miss the playoffs. The worst of both worlds. True. Mailbag, what's your real name, bro? Should I reveal my real name? We can only hope Melvin pulls a Sharon. um all right, I'll give you a hint. Don P is kind of my real name. And let's see, maybe we'll do some sort of, I don't know. Maybe I'll reveal my real name at 1,000 subscribers. uh it ain't Batman. It ain't Batman. um maybe I don't know. I don't know, bro. I'm definitely gonna try to have that mock draft simulator ready for you guys this off season. So yeah, gotta get it done. if y'all share the stream and y'all tell everybody what it is, and you get me back to 1,000 subscribers, I'll tell you should I say it's got to be by the end by the Super Bowl? I need 1,000 subscribers by the Super Bowl. Tell your friends, tell your loved ones, tell your families, and then I will reveal my real name. First name Don, last name Wick. That Black Ops 7 is trash, by the way. I'm sorry. It's not good. I don't like it. The maps are too big. Like I was saying, movement players like myself, we can't really get off because everybody just camps everywhere. There's snipers everywhere. And if you know, like they've got the free for all mode, and if you're going free for all, the map shouldn't be that damn big, bro. Where's your shipment? Where's your stakeout? Where are these types of skirmish, very small maps? So I don't know. We'll see. I'm pretty much playing zombies until they bring in smaller maps because it's frustrating. I'm running up on you with double shotgun and Kimbos, and before I can get anywhere near you, I'm getting sniped. So no. When do mock draft streams start? They're gonna have to start after the Super Bowl, bro. We can't do that. We can't do that, bro. I bought it just having faith in it, but yeah, nah. But Modern Warfare is next, so we'll get back to being able to like modify our guns and make our own stuff, and it'll be great. Don Rickles, that's not it for sure. Don Julio is not because, as I said, Don is part of my first name. P is part of my last name. So, all right, y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. Like I said, I gotta make a phone call. But once again, the Motor City Cats R&D back at it. We came to give you stats, not none of that static. Whatever you do, make sure you keep your Lions news pragmatic. Appreciate you guys. And we will see you tomorrow. Peace.